So yesterday we discussed about comp 1, comp 2 and comp 3, right? So basically comp is used for binary, like comp stores data in binary format. Basically all these comp 1, comp 2, comp 3 are used for saving the memory. Okay. So generally comp is used for data is stored in binary format, and the range is from, if it is 9 of 1 to 9 of 4 range, then it takes 2 bytes. 9 of 5 to 9 of 9, 4 bytes. 9 of 10 to 9 of 18, 8 bytes. And comp is used to store, I mean comp 1 is used to store single precision floating items, and the range is this: 2 power minus 2162, 2 power minus 127. So coming to comp 3, it is double precision floating number, and the range is from 2 power minus 10222 to 2 power plus 1023. And coming to comp 3, it is used to store decimal point, decimal data. Basically, the format is, it stores in packet decimal basically. And how the calculation happens: if it is a even number, n by 2 plus 1, and if it is an odd number, n plus 1 by 2, is how that is how we calculate the comp 3. So here we can say one more point. Uh, what is that is to see comp data, because data in comp 3 is hexadecimal format. Okay, so it cannot be visible to naked eye. It will be visible, but it cannot be understandable to us basically. So it is like a Greek and Latin language type of thing will be there. So how do you how so if you need to find what data is stored on that, then you need to open the data set and give exon command. Okay, then only you can easily able to read the data. So if you give exon command, you are able to read the data. So this will be one interview question basically. So what they will ask is how do you read comp3 data? It will not be in a proper readable format. So how do you read that? So the answer should be exon command. We open the data set and give hexon command, then we can read the data, because then the data will be in normal format, or else it will be in packet decimal format, which is not readable. So when you give exon command, it will be in readable format and you can read the data. So this will be one interview question. And what are the other interview question is basically we cannot move low values to comp3 data items. So they will ask in such a manner, well, let's say I'm moving low values to comp3 field, what happens? So the answer should be in compilation error. You will get compilation error when you move low values to comp3 data item. So these should be your basic questions. You will get interview questions. Apart from that, you will get this also. And how sign is stored. Sign is stored in, we call slack byte. So this is how the sign is stored. Rightmost byte in the field we call it as slack byte, and sign is stored in this byte basically. Okay, rightmost byte basically in a variable, rightmost byte, that sign will be stored. So what we call that byte as slack byte. So this also you remember. Okay, here C means positive, D means negative. So in the rightmost byte, if it is having C means that is positive, it is, if it is having D means that is negative value. So this is also important point when you are going for an interview questions. So remember this. Okay guys, are we good here? Any questions with respect to comp3? This will be one of the major interview questions you will get when you face the interviews. So be remember that apart from that, we'll have basic questions with respect to all the comp variables. So what are the advantages of comp variables? Where do we use comp variables? That is what they will ask. So for comp, you need to say, for arithmetic calculations, we use comp. For looping the variables, like increments, counters, loop variables, system internal data, all these variables, we use comp. So this should be the basic advantages. Where does we use comp in Cobol? So if you are using counters or increments, loop variables, system internal data, then there we use comp. You remember this. I'll tell what are these in like when we go for concept of looping in Cobol. I'll tell what are the increments, what are these counters or loop variables. I will explain what are these there. But you remember this as an interview question. Where do we use comp? So comp is used for these purposes, and these are the main advantages of it. Okay. Coming to comp 3, we use for basically what? Decimal point. So how do we see comp3 data, or how do we display comp3 data? How do we see means, as I told, we used to give xon command to see xon command. Okay, to see the data. But how do we display that? Display means in Cobol we can display variables in job. Once we run the job, there will be one area, we call that as sysout or spool. There we can see the basic the information regarding the job. So how do we display that comp3 variable? So basically we display comp3 variable by moving comp3 to its equivalent. Okay, valent integer. So we need to move comp3 data into its equivalent integer data type and display that data type, because here comp3 will not be in readable format. When you move that to an integer field will be in readable format. So once you move that, you display this, then you will able to display. If you display directly comp3, it will not be readable and it will not be helpful. So that is what with respect to comp3. Any questions with respect to comp1, comp3? I will be asking these interview questions once we complete with what is this data types. Basically, redefines and renames are the last data types we had. Once we complete that, on the next topic, when we are going to start next topic, I will ask these questions. So you should be able to answer. So be prepared. If I ask some questions, please be prepared to answer that. If you have any questions, let me know now only so that we can discuss. If no, I'll go forward for redefines and renames. Whatever the highlighted points are there, you just remember those. It will be helpful during your interviews, or when you are coding something, you will able to understand. Are you good here, guys? Then I will go for redefines. Okay, I take that as you have no questions. So basically, redefines class. Where do we use redefines? What is the purpose of redefines? So redefines, what does it do is basically, let's say I have a data item. Um, like description of that data item is data type of that data item is alphabetic data type or a numeric data type. But same variable or same storage, because every variable will have a storage. So same storage or same variable, I need to use with the other data type. So in that phase, let's say if I declared data as x of 6, but down the line in the program, I need to use that x of 6 as 9 of 6. Okay. So I need to use, guys, you are there? Hello?
Yes, Satish.
Okay. Because these people are not talking, so I got note. Okay. Okay. So basically, let's say there is a variable like WS date, and it is declared with x of 6. So here we will store what? Basically, we can store alphabet and integers, right? So in this variable, we can store alphabet and integers. But down the line in Cobol program, I need to use a variable like 9 of 6. There is a variable. I need to populate that data into that. So for that purpose, basically, we redefines that variable like WS redefine data redefines WS date. This WS date is here, which is present here. Okay. So what does this do is basically let's say if you take WS data and value is what is today's date 06/10/22, right? It is stored in some specific location. Okay. ABC is location in the memory. Its address. ABC is know what uh, address of WS data is ABC 123 something like that. Okay. It the data reference address is with respect to COBOL, it will understand, but we are not bothered about this. But remember, this address is ABC 233. So what does this redefines do is when COBOL encounters WS data, it goes to this address and pulls its value. This is its value. WS data value is this. So that is how the COBOL works. In similar lines, when we give data, so what does we say here? WS redefine data redefines this. So what does COBOL do is it assigns same address to this basically. So this variable also refers to same address. When we redefine that, basically it refers to same address. So what is the difference then? Why we are doing creating multiple variables with same address to represent same data? Because here the data is x of 6, here the data is 9 of 2. I mean integer. Here also if you combine all these elementary groups, we will get 6. So when we are representing same data with a different data type, then we used to go for what? Redefines. That is the main purpose of redefines. Are we good here, team? This will be one of the, always you will encounter this in the interview. This will be one of the interview question. If you are able to understand, then only you will able to answer that question in the interview. So basic definition is redefine class allows you to use different data description entry to describe the same computer storage area. This is the computer storage area. It the storage area refers to this address, and the values stored in this is this. So the storage area here will be 6. Okay. So when you redefine WS data item with WS redefined data, so it basically refers to the same address, but with a different data description. Data description means data type. So here data type is 9 of 2. Here data type is x of 6. That is the basic difference. So when we are using a numeric data type with a alphanumeric or alphabetic, then we generally redefine that variable so that it will not encounter any problem during validations or manipulations we are when we are doing in the COBOL program. So that is the place where we use redefines. Even this can be X also, depending on our requirement. We can redefine this as X also, but mostly if it is the same data type, we don't require that. We can use reference modification. There is a concept like reference modification that we can use to move this specific data. But most most useful will be when you are using a different data description only. So this is the basic redefines. Are we good here? Redefines declaration should immediately follow the redefined item and should be done at the same level. So here, if you are giving redefining WS data, it should be at the same group level. I mean level number. It should not be 02 because it is represent some address. So it should be always in the same level and it should immediately follow the redefined variable. It should not be in such a manner. I had a variable here 01 ws what time. So it should not be the scenario. Basically it should not have an intermediate variables between this. If it is that, it will not allow us to do that. Basically it should follow immediately the predefined item. That is how that code should be. It cannot be coded at 66 and 88 levels. Okay, are we good here?
Yes, sir.
Who else is having voice problem? Basically, am I audible, guys, clearly?
Yes, Satish.
What about others?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Rashekar,
voice చాలా స్లోగా వినబడుతుంది.
pardon?
వాయిస్ చాలా స్లోగా వినబడుతుంది.
I think there is a problem with your net, Raghu. That should be the scenario because others are not facing that. He has left. I don't know how these people will. Okay. What about the other two guys? Sunil and Rashekar, are we good? Are you having any questions?
No, sir.
You are able to understand,
questions.
right? What is redefines and where does we use? What are the limitations? These are the limitations. This is the limitation. This is also limitation. What they will ask is what is redefines? What are its limitations? So you need to say these limitations basically. Okay. Are we good here? What are the limitations? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me what is redefines? What are its limitations? Anyone, please.
Means redefine should be declared in same data item and it should not be declared at the 66 and 88 level numbers.
It should not be data item. Basically, it should be level number. If you tell data item,
Yeah.
they will understand
Yeah,
that your it should be level number. It should not be declared. It should be declared
level
at the
number.
same level number. Okay.
Okay.
Are we good
Yeah.
there?
Okay.
It
Yes.
should immediately follow the redefined item. It should not be like there should not be any intermediate variables in between them. That should not be the case. It should immediately
Okay.
follow the redefined item. So these two should be limitations. Apart from that, it cannot be
In
declared as
here, finds statement, the picture clause will not come.
no redefines. We will not have picture class because we were telling that the picture class at the below elementary levels. Here,
Mm-hmm.
if it is giving picture class, it is syntax error. It should not be
Okay.
basic. Value class, picture
Yeah,
class
yeah.
will not present here. Basically, that should be at
Okay.
the elementary items basically. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So what is redefines? Can anyone explain? Tell me. Where do we use redefines? Limitations. We are able to identify now. What is the basic use of redefines? Sunil,
For
Rashekar.
storage purpose, we will use the redefines.
Not storage purpose. Storage purpose you will able to understand with yeah, indirectly storage also we can say, but main advantage of redefines is we used different data description entry. This should be your answer.
It should use different data description.
Because here we are the basic main variable is x of 6, but when you are redefining it with redefined data, it is using 9 of 2. The data description is different, right? Data description means data type. Okay, so where do we use basically redefines is it allows us to use different data description entry to describe the same computer storage area. Same memory, we are using two different data types. Here we are using x of 6, here we are using 9 of 2, 9 of 6. So different data description to represent same data. One data is present. To represent that data, we are using two different data descriptions. Are we good here? Sunil and
Yes, sir.
Raghu,
Yes, Satish.
you are okay, right? Okay. So let's move to renames. So previously we were discussing about 66 class, sorry, 66 level number basically. This 66 level number we call it as renames. Okay, this is what 66. 66, what does this 66 do is we call that as renames class. What does this basically do? To be frank, in my total years of experience, I never used a renames class in my whole years of experience. So at most we cannot see any logic or any code with respect to 66. All my experience have never seen a code with respect to 66, but you need to have that basic knowledge what is 66. Okay, so 66 is used for regrouping elementary data items in a record. It should be declared, this is the limitation, it should be declared at 66 level. It need not be immediately follow the data item which is being renamed, but all the rename entries associated with one logical record must immediately follow that last data description entry. Renames cannot be done at 01, 77, 88 and another 66 level. This can be done for this cannot be done for occurrence of an array. Array we will discuss down the line, but what does renames does is basically, let's say there is a variable and you have elementary groups as described like this. Okay, so if you are trying to rename this elementary groups with a different let's say I want to rename from variable pay to shift other benefits with a new name, only this base page should be excluded. All the remaining three elementary groups I need to rename it with a new variable. In that scenario we generally use renames. So if you look at this CTC is having base pay, variable pay, shift allowance, other benefits. So these are the basic variables in subdivisions in CTC. So, but when coming to salary, I given a sample example. So when coming to salary, the salary basically represents from base pay to shift allowance. Till here, we call that as salary. Okay. Other benefits we don't include that in salary, but other benefits can be included in CTC. Okay. So basically grouping of some elementary groups into one specific name, we call that as renames. We can do that from base pay to other benefits also, but if we rename all four variables, what is the use of a new variable? There is no necessity of using a new variable, right? We can use that, we can regroup that, but what is the necessity of having two variables? Here the salary represents only first three variables. So basically it is renaming certain amount of elementary items in a group. It is giving a different data name, basically variable name to that group basically. So that is the basic logic with respect to renames. So what does limitations of rename is, it should always be done at 66 level. This is the main point. It should always be done at 66 level, and it cannot be done for 01 levels, 01, 0, 77, 88, and another 66 level. Let's say if there is a 66 level, and if we want to rename from here to all these three, it cannot be done because it is having a 66 variable. That cannot be done. Even 77 last elementary group also we cannot do. 88 is a switch, we cannot do that. 01 level is a record number, so record level data, so that also we cannot do. That is what basically it represents. Any questions here?
What is the difference? Renames and redefine?
This is the basic question they will ask. That is a good question. But why I laughed is because I explained you in such a manner, pointing out what is the difference. But anyone in the team can able to answer that. I will explain that, but let me know if anyone in the team can able to answer. Rashikar, Raghu, Sunil, or anyone. So Rashekar asked the question. Other three, what about the other three? Are you able to answer this question? What is the difference between redefines and renames? Guys, anyone? Okay.
Rename we can use for 66 level, but redefines we cannot done at 66 level.
No, that is not the correct answer. That is the difference, but that is not the correct answer. So basically, the answer is, let's say,
They are different ordered.
yes, redefines we use for different data description. It is always we use that for different data descriptions. But coming to it is not always, but the main point of redefines is to use for a different data description entries. Let's say if it is x of 6, here we can use 9 of 2, something like that. If it is 9, we can use x. So that is the basic difference. We use redefines to define a different data description entry, different data type for the new variables. But coming to redefines, that is not. We are just grouping that variables. Here we are not talking about any data types here. We are just grouping that variables to form a new variable. And that's it. We are not talking anything about the descriptions. We are not talking anything about the description. Here, if you see 9 of 6, 9 of 5, 9 of 4, that is what we are regrouping that variable into WS data name. That's it. We are not bothered about what is the data type of that sub elementary items. So that is the basic difference. If you the question will come guarantee in the interview, what is the difference between redefines and renames? Redefines basically goes for using a different data description, but renames is regrouping of elementary data item. This should be the basic answer you should tell. Guys, any questions there? Raghu, you are the one who asked that question, right?
No, sir. Me, Rashik.
Sorry. Rashekar, are we good there?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Okay.
You are okay, right? What is the difference between redefines and renames?
Using different data description entries, here we can use regrouping of elementary data items.
Okay. Okay. Let Raghu, can you tell me the limitations for redefines? Raghu, what are the limitations for redefines? Please unmute and answer the question.
Hello.
What is the limitations of redefines?
Hello.
Yes, tell me. Limitations of redefines. You will get basic 3 questions here with respect to redefines and renames. What are the 3 questions? Can I tell? You answer those questions. Okay. I'll tell what are the questions. So tell me, guys, who will able to answer these questions? I was asking Raghu if he is able to answer. No problem. Raghu, are you able to answer this question? Different limitations for renames. You tell one thing. I'll ask redefines other one. Or if you are okay with redefine,
Yeah,
also tell me that.
redefense and renames different between.
Difference we
Main
discussed.
purpose is
I don't want difference. Limitations I want. Limitations of redefines. I'm highlighting here, guys. That is the main purpose I'm
it
highlighting here.
cannot be done. It cannot be done at 66 and 88 to 11.
What is the other point?
Renames cannot be done for 01, 77, 18. Hello?
No. That is for renames. I'm asking for redefines.
Yes. Yes, redefines it cannot be done at 66 and 88 levels.
There is one more point. I'm highlighting that point. You read that.
Yeah, redefines declaration should immediately follow the redefined data and should be done the same level.
So what does that mean? Can you explain that? Redefine should immediately follow the redefined item. Here, this is the redefined item. It should immediately follow this variable. WS redefined data should immediately follow redefine. And it should be at the same level number. WS data and WS redefined data is at 01 level number. If it is 02, then it should be also 02. If it is 05, then this should be also 05. The level number should be equal and it should immediately follow the redefined data. That is the basic point I'm explaining here. Okay. It cannot be done at 66 and 88. Okay. I think we are running out of time. Who is the other one? Sunil, can you explain limitations of renames? Sunil?
Yes, Satish.
Explain limitations of renames.
It is used for regrouping of elementary
is
data
definition.
items in a record.
That is definition. What is the
Okay.
limitations?
Just a moment. Should be declared at 66 level.
Okay. What are the other?
Renames cannot be done for a 017788 or another 66 entry. It cannot be done for occurrences at an array.
Okay. Sunil, what is this 017788? You have any, because we discussed this previously. What are these?
No, Sadish, actually, I have to go through previous
Classes.
videos. So
Okay. Anyone in the class who can explain what is 017788? What we call them as?
Level numbers.
Okay. Okay. I'm done with the class for today.